Welcome back, everyone, to another great edition of the Broker to Broker podcast. My name is Mark Summers. I am the president of AIME. Today, I'm going to be interviewing someone special here. She's been big on social media lately. I've gotten to know her a little bit here, but today I'll be interviewing a mortgage broker with Delaware Financial Capital Corporation, Angela Caputo. Angela, thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, our pleasure. No, this is going to be good. I just like I said, I know you've been pretty big on Facebook. You're doing some great things. I know your company's doing extremely well right now, which is exciting to hear. So, tell me about your background. How did you get in this industry? Tell me a little bit about Delaware Financial as well.
Yeah, so it's actually a crazy story about how I got started. In 2012, I was working at a online bank in Delaware, and this job opportunity came up, and I interviewed with my boss, the owner of Delaware Financial, and she said, "You're gonna be a loan officer, and you're straight commission." And me being a freshly out of college, uh, in my early 20s, I was terrified, and I declined the offer actually. So I said
Really?
no, and I continued to work in banking. I worked in fraud for a couple of years. Then I got a job with J.P. Morgan. I worked on Wall Street. I commuted from Delaware to New York pretty frequently every week. I was living in a hotel. I decided to, during that time, to buy a house. So I went back to my boss, the owner of Delaware Financial, and I got a mortgage through her actually. And then a couple months later, I was tired of commuting and I quit JP Morgan. And I called her that day and I said, "Hey, I quit my job. You gave me a mortgage 6 months ago. I have no income. Can you hire me now?" And that was 4 years later. So she hired me on the spot and I've been there ever since. And that was 2015.
Wow, wow, wow. So that you just kind of hopped into it. I know what you mean about probably being a little scared of, hey, you're just going to go straight commission.
Yeah, I was
Because
terrified. I'm still in student loans. So
right.
I had no idea how they were going to get paid. I didn't know anything about mortgages. Being a 22, 23-year-old, I didn't own a house. I didn't have any friends who owned houses at that time. So I really had no idea what I was going to get into, and I was too afraid.
Yeah, no, that's great, but I bet you're pretty glad you're in it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So things
I'm
are
thinking
going
to myself
well.
I didn't start earlier.
Right. Okay, so tell me a little bit about Delaware Financial. What does the makeup look like there? How many loan officers you guys have? What's your process kind of look like over there?
Yeah, so Delaware Financial is run by my two bosses, Amy and Anthony, husband and wife. They're great. I consider them family now because I've been with them for so long. We have about four other loan officers in the office and two processors. So that's our whole makeup. It's a pretty great, close knit group. So it's nice because Delaware's a pretty small town. So you really do get to know your coworkers. Even before I worked with some of them, I knew who they were, so it's pretty nice.
That's great. Now, tell me a little bit about your guys' process. I know this is not anything. I love hearing about everyone's process, like how you get a loan and then what happens with it.
Yeah, so it's kind of different for each of us. We all kind of have our own ways of doing business. But the way that I do it specifically is so I obviously get the client, I take application, I do the pre approval, everything like that. And then once the house is under contract or if it's refinanced, after I do the application, I generate all the disclosures. I will start a email to the processor and just say, "Can you set this file up?" The processor is in charge of all the paperwork after that. So setting up title, homeowners insurance, everything along those lines. And then when the conditions come out, I review them and then pass along to the processor if I have any notes. And then their job is to get all the updated documents and then submit it to the closer, who is my other boss, Anthony. And then he makes sure that everything is ready for closing day.
Keeping it simple. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's great. It's a great process. We tried a couple different ways of doing it in the past couple of years, and this is the most efficient way to do it. So we've got it down to a science.
Yep. Sometimes you got to go through some bumps in the road, but it's actually, not that bad once you get a process down. So one thing I want to talk about with your company as well is what is your and it's a big term we're using now. What does your tech stack look like? What kind of technology you guys are using? Because that's probably one of the number one questions I get a ton is okay, what's the good technology? What is everyone using? So tell me a little bit about it.
Sure. I mean, we keep it pretty simple. Delaware Financial, I mean, we just use Encompass, and then our like the software that we use to manage the different like our pipelines is Trello. So every loan gives them a Trello card that's set up by the processor, and then if I ever am out and a realtor calls me, I can just open up the app on my phone, kind of see where the file is, and give everybody answers. So it's kind of at my fingertips, and I really like it a lot.
That's perfect. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love it. Absolutely
yeah.
love it. Okay, so now I know you said it's small town Delaware over there, and obviously you probably have to create some good relationships. So let's talk about this one right here. So how do you approach relationships differently, whether it's client or referral or just we'll call it a cold call. So how do you build your relationships?
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky enough when I got into the industry that I had a lot of friends who were realtors. My best friend is a real estate attorney.
Mm.
So I'm kind of already immersed in it already. My Facebook feed was full of real estate before I even got into it. So I knew a lot of realtors just from friendships in school through being in a state that has less than 1 million people.
Yeah, so would you say that's your biggest referral source right there?
Yeah, I would definitely say so, and just word of mouth because we are so small, and there aren't many brokers in Delaware. Don't tell anybody that. It's a secret. Don't.
I'm
so,
not going there, don't worry.
yeah. So yeah, we kind of capture that market, and it really works out for us.
Perfect. Okay, so if your friend's a good referral source, what other type of referral sources are you using?
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest thing for me that I've seen a return on is email marketing. So I get a lot of clients on my own without any realtors referring them to me, without any insurance agents sending them my way or social media necessarily. I go out and get them myself, and then I make sure they're ready, and then I send them to the realtors that I work with. And that has been a great way of building a more level or more balanced relationship with my realtors who are also my friends.
Yeah, and I think everyone kind of understands this, but if and it's really hard for us mortgage brokers, loan officers to give referrals like that because a lot of times people go straight to the real estate agent first. But man,
Yeah,
if you can give a client to a real estate agent, it just opens up a world of opportunity.
definitely.
Yeah. So all right, so you just have real estate agents, no attorneys, no insurance people, no tax advisors.
Oh yeah. So as I mentioned, my best friend is a real estate attorney. Delaware's an attorney state, so you need an attorney to buy a house. So that's great. I mean, I definitely work a lot with her. Whenever they have, or whenever she specifically has clients that need help, I definitely am her first call. So that's great. And then I also like to build relationships, and I advise everybody to do this with a local insurance broker just like us. I mean, they have so many different carriers they can shop and help all the clients that the big insurance places like the State Farms and the Progressives don't offer and they can't help. So I definitely would encourage everybody to build a relationship with an insurance broker, my insurance broker. I talk to him a couple of times a week. We hang out sometimes. He's pretty great. We host events together whenever he has a client who comes to him and is looking to save money on their policy, he also kind of gets into it with them about where their mortgage is and then kind of sends them off to me and says, just have her look at it. And it's resulted in a lot of business because he trusts me. So, and I trust him, and he does a great job with our clients.
Yeah, you gotta have that referral circle, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
It's really easy just to say, "Hey, do you have insurance?" But if you can let people know what kind of we'll call it your little referral circle that you have, I mean,
Mhm.
it's pretty darn good. I've gotten a ton of business that way.
Yeah, for sure. No, when I open up a file or I start like an email correspondence after someone goes under contract, I will always advise them, hey, get your quote for your insurance, and I'm also going to get you a quote from my preferred insurance person. Let's compare. 99% of the time, once they talk to my insurance broker, they go with him because he's phenomenal. So it's great to be able to like give business also because it doesn't happen too much for us.
That's the best referral source is giving business. It always
Yeah,
comes back.
definitely.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about your current book of business and your borrowers that you have. Do you get referrals from them much or
Yeah, so back to the email marketing that I do, I have a database of about 3,600 people that I email monthly. And every month that I send that email, I kind of get back two or three, I would say, new people that have been just forwarded that email from my existing database and saying, hey, I'm looking to get a mortgage. And you can see the email chain leading up to it. I sent the email blast, and then someone in my database got it, sent it to their coworker or their cousin or their parent, and then they reached out to me. So I would say two or three a month come from an existing referral that I've closed before.
Perfect. And we're gonna dive deeper into this email marketing because it's really
Yeah.
interesting to me, but don't go too deep into it yet. Okay. So excuse me. No, so okay, so you have a nice little referral source. So now I want to ask you a question. The our business is really attractive right now. Being mortgage brokers, being loan officers on the broker side of things is really attractive. We got a lot of great partners. So we got a lot of new people coming into the space, which personally for me, I'm okay with.
Yeah.
I think that, I always go back to, what do brokers do best, period. And it's we give lower rates, lower closing costs, and better service. So we're helping the consumer. So if we're going to get more people doing this, that's fine. But let's say you have someone new coming in and you want to give them some advice, some deep advice here on relationship building. What would it be?
Yeah, so I would say for at least what I've done, every person that I've spoken to from day one when I started in 2015, I've gotten their name, their phone, and their email address. And I stay in front of them. So there's realtors that I met in networking meetings 3, 4 years ago that I still reach out to monthly. And as long as you stay in front of them, it'll keep generating business for you. As long as it's not a cold call out of the blue when you really need business, and it's warm relationships that you've like developed with them. Add them on Facebook, find out about their kids and their family and their pets, and make it seem like, or not make it seem like, but actually become friends with them. Don't fake it.
Yeah, no, right.
Be friends.
They'll sniff that out in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
definitely.
I 100% agree with you, Angela. I mean, it's soft sales to me. It's always just like, hey,
Yeah,
I'm here. I'm here if you need me. This is what I do. I don't want to ruin any relationships that you have.
exactly. Yeah, just being genuine goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and it seems like a backhanded thing to do, like be genuine about it and get to know them because you might get business from it. But at the end of the day, even if you still don't get business from it, you're still going to probably create a good relationship.
Exactly. Yeah. No, you definitely want to have the reputation that you're there to help everybody and that you're friendly and you're not just calling to sell people.
Yep. Yep. Whenever I'm speaking to referral sources, whatever, I always just tell them I'm looking for relationships here. If I can't do the deal, if it's not, if they can find someone better, by all means, go ahead. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then that's where the trust is created here.
Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree.
Perfect. Okay. So we're going to hop into this email marketing thing here that you got going on here. All right. So you
Yeah.
need to dive into this pretty deep with what you do because I think a lot of people also get a little scared about it. Like they think it has to be perfect. They think it has to be this big sales funnel thing where there's all this thought behind it within reason. But you dive into your email marketing. So first off, you built your database here. So what is your strategy and content?
I keep it as simple as possible because I have a very analytical background in finance. So I could go and I could build the crazy spreadsheets with the buttons and everything. I don't want to do that. I don't want to track those things. So what I track when I create my database, which is an Excel spreadsheet, is name, email, phone, and the referral source. So if they came from a realtor, I put the realtor's name. If they came from Facebook, I put Facebook, just so I know. Because what happens is you send these emails and then a couple years go by and that person reaches back out because they're still on your email list and you have no idea where they came from. So I can go back and reference my list. So that's really important. And then I have tried a couple different softwares, trial and error, to see what works best for email marketing. The one that I'm using currently that I have found is the best for my needs is Active Campaign. I think it's about $900 a year for the size database that I have. Obviously, you can scale it higher or lower for the cost, but you really get to build your emails from scratch. You get to upload your database right to it. Super simple, super streamlined. If you use anything like Canva, which I know AIME uses, and it's great for all the National Mortgage Broker Day graphics they did. I use them; they were great. I put them in my email marketing. They have great response. Everybody loves them. They're pretty clean, which I love with marketing. Super easy for social media. So with Active Campaign, you can kind of build your template, and then it's super easy. I just copy it over month after month, and then just kind of edit the details that I put in there. So, for example, the August email blast had 5 different topics. I keep them short and sweet. The first topic was HomeBot, just giving people the link to sign up for
Mhm.
HomeBot, explaining what it is. It's such a useful tool. If you don't use HomeBot, please use it. It'll generate refinances and purchases all in itself without you doing anything except loading your clients in there. Mark, do you use HomeBot?
Heck yeah, that thing is,
Yeah.
and I try not to brag about you. I mean, they're a great partner of Ames, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but it's unreal what that thing does. I just know every Monday morning I'm waking up, I'm looking at that homebot email of the people who have, looked at their profile the most, and it's like yeah, I'm calling them.
Yeah. And then you reach out to them, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. So that weekly update, that weekly email for me, and then obviously the monthly email for the client, it provides so much information. It's so beneficial. And then the second topic that I talked about in my email was insurance and how there's more than just one way to save on your mortgage. A lot of clients come to me and they'll have a really good interest rate already, but they want to save more money. And I send them to my insurance broker and I tell them to shop around for better insurance because people don't really think about that. But it does pay off in the long run to definitely make sure you're shopping that too. And the third thing that I talked about in my August email was the new FHA student loan calculation.
Mhm.
So I didn't keep a list of all of the clients that I previously denied who didn't qualify because of student loans. So I had no idea who to reach out to. So when I put that on my email blast, I kind of just explained if you've previously been denied because of your student loan debt being too high, call me because the whole payment calculation has changed. And that got a good couple of responses also. And then the fourth thing that I talked about was how to make your offer stronger when in the purchase market right now. So something that I explain to my realtors that I can do is if you know you're submitting an offer at a certain price point and a certain amount down, I can run it through to see if we get an appraisal waiver, so you can remove the appraisal contingency.
Mm.
And that's something that a lot of people aren't doing, but it definitely makes your offer stronger if you can say that you get that appraisal waiver at the price that the people are selling the house for or more. And realtors love that because they get to put it in
Oh,
their contracts and it just makes it stand out.
realtors love that. Realtors hate
Yeah.
appraisals.
Yes. Well, I think we all hate appraisals, but yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And then the fifth thing was vetted VA. Actually, I talked about how I start veterans and how I'm one of two. Brendan McKay and I are the two vetted VA loan officers in Delaware. So if they need anything, obviously to reach out. But I also provide a link to the map. So if by chance someone on my database is not in Delaware and they're a veteran, they still have access to the map and still have access to someone who's vetted they can trust for their home needs, their home financing needs.
So you type all this out within reason, or like, because I think that's where a lot of people get scared. Like how much time is this going to take? So tell me, how much time does this take you? And then, well, I think it also depends on, are you sending this out weekly or just once a month?
Yeah, no, it's just once a month. If it was weekly, I would have to brainstorm a lot more content, and I don't know if it would be as interesting. There's probably a lot of duplicates. I'm sure that if I had someone on board helping me, that they could think of more things than what I could. But yeah, no, because it's just me right now. It's just once a month, and it's not a lot. I might do a paragraph, and when I say a paragraph, I mean a paragraph on like your phone screen is like 2 or 3 sentences per thing. It's not in depth. I don't put rates in there. I might put examples of clients that I've helped saved, just to show where kind of rates are and what like the capability is to save, but I don't quote rates. So there's not a lot of disclaimers in there. There's not a lot of filler. It's just what you need to know to get through to the bottom of the email and then move on.
All right. So how much time do you think this is taking? I mean, do you set aside time? Do you block aside time, or kind of do the oh crap, I got to get something out here next week?
Yeah, so I will say that last year during quarantine, when we were all slammed and there was not enough time to feed ourselves, I kind of slacked off and I missed a couple months, but we
Okay.
were also busy, it didn't matter. But right now, so this past week when I sent out my email, I think I probably took a Sunday. The longest part is getting your names into the database because there's no true efficient way to do that when you do it manually like I do it. I know that there's other software that I talk to people about that kind of just track every email address that you email to and they put it in a database. I don't have that. I'm definitely looking into it, but for right now, it probably took me 3 hours to put the database together, just updated for the past couple months before I can send out the email. So I want to make sure that everybody I've talked to recently was on the email. So that took the longest, and then I'll say maybe putting the email together took 2 hours, but it was more formatting and not so much what I needed to talk about. I kind of did like as if we were in school again. I did an outline and made 3 bullet points for each of my topics, and then
Mhm.
I just had a sentence about each. So if you lay it out like that and you just think your sentence is through and what you're trying to say just a couple minutes in advance, it's super easy just to type up, and it doesn't have to be super formal. Mine's not super formal. I don't have a lot of graphics in it. It's just paragraph, 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 and each paragraph has a link in it that goes to somewhere if you want to get pre-approved. You want to go to the vetted VA website and then send it. And make sure you pick a good time to send it.
You're right. That's also really important. So
Yeah.
I love it because I mean people have to start thinking about it this way. Okay, so I think if my math is right, you spent approximately 5 hours on your
Yeah.
monthly email, and I
Yeah.
think before that you said you probably got 4 or 5 deals out of it.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean,
At
so
least.
if you start doing the hourly rate on that, that's a good return on investment right there.
Oh yeah, it's a huge turn. I would say so far from the email blast that I sent out last week, I have sent out 7 refinance applications.
Really?
And it's only been I guess I sent it on last Monday, so it's been exactly a week and
Wow.
a couple days. Yeah,
That's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, see, and what I love about this, and I've said this before, so people, if you listen to this all the time, they hate it probably now because they're like, Mark's. I'll just say this again, which is I love the broker world because there's 5,000 different right ways to do this. You know what I mean? And you're doing it, you're obviously really successful and you're crushing it. And, you got a little plan in place and it's working out great just by email marketing.
yeah, no, it's definitely something that I enjoy because I don't know if you can tell, I don't like being in front of the camera.
Oh,
I
come
don't like
on.
my I don't like my face on things. I like to hide behind the computer. So the email really works out for me. I don't want to. I'm not that I'm not good at social media. I'm not good at keeping up with social media. Social media is a beast in itself. That's very time consuming, and I don't have all that much time with just me. So the email marketing definitely is my best return on investment when it comes to how I market.
But you've been quite a bit more active on social media lately.
Yeah, I have. So a little fun fact, I moved to Texas recently, just temporarily, and I don't have any friends here, so I have nothing to do except work. So yeah, I've had a lot more time to work on my social media.
That's awesome. Okay, now with your email marketing, like how do you track it? Do you track it at all? Like how many deals you get per month or what kind of
Yeah,
response rate you get?
yeah, so I do track it, and if you use one of the apps like the Active Campaign, if you use that portal, it'll track it also. Who's opening it, what they're clicking on, what they're reading, how long they're spending time reading it, that sort of thing. I think right now, and I think it's actually really high for mortgage industry in general. My open percentage is about 35%. So I
It's
think
high.
that typically mortgage emails do not get open that often. So I like to think that I'm providing a lot of value in that. And then besides that, I just kind of keep a spreadsheet that just shows where it came from and what it was a result of. So if it came from a realtor and that's why they were in the database, obviously I track that. And then if I get them back, even if it's a couple years later, for instance, I woke up today to an email from someone when I first started, I wasn't just a loan officer, I was a processor for 2 years.
Mhm.
So I didn't become a loan officer until the end of 2017. So I was still bartending because I needed to make ends meet after I quit my Wall Street job. So I would meet people at the bar and I would do their refinances when I was just getting started. So I had someone from 2017 reach out to me today and say, "Hey, I got your email blast. I've since bought a house and used my wife's loan officer, but we're still looking to refinance." And I mean, I have him in my database from 2017 and he saw my email. So I track it just in my spreadsheet. I know where they came from. I know there's should be a better science to it, but that's all I've gotten so far.
Yeah, I mean, there probably is. Technology is pretty good, but
Yeah,
you know what? At the end of the day, it's working for you. So keep
yeah, no, it
listen.
works
I
for
look at
me.
this. Yeah, you're being successful, so that's absolutely fine. So good for you. So do you have any strategy with social media right now? I know you said you don't have friends. I find that hard to believe, but down there, but like, are you trying to post once a day, 3 times a week, anything like that, or you just kind of when something's relevant, you put it out there?
Yeah, so I was doing a really good job at one point of creating a social media calendar, like the ones that UWM offers, where it just has
Mhm.
different topics to talk about. And I did it for a solid, I want to say, a couple years, and then it kind of fell off because I got so busy that I didn't, not that I didn't need to, but I didn't have time to. So right now, I'm kind of just strategizing on what I want to post about, so I can start come September again because I think we'll have a little bit well, I'll have a little bit more time then just because I'll be caught up and then fuse will hit and then I'll fall behind again. Uh, so we'll see. But yeah, no, I mean, my goal is to post Monday through Friday once a day. That's always been my goal. Does it happen every week? No. Do I run into things to talk about? Of course. But that's when I ask my friends in Brokers Are Better or my like close knit group of friends and realtors what they think, what they're having luck with, and just kind of bounce ideas off them.
Yeah, yeah, and you brought up Fuse. Fuse is right around the corner. You're
Oh yeah.
coming, correct?
Oh, of course I'm coming.
God, I love Fuse. We've been strategizing a ton with it, and I'll give a shout out to the AIM team and Katie and Brendan. They've been really hitting this hard, and I really think the content that we're going to put out there is just going to be invaluable. So
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. Best views ever.
I hope so. Every year we do it, we go, man, how are we going to make next year better? But I think we're continuing to figure it out.
I will
So
say that I am so excited. My favorite movie is Molly's Game. So to be
love
able
it.
to meet Molly Bloom, like that is, I'm ecstatic about that. That in itself, I would just go to Vegas just for that.
Well, great. No, I love that movie as well, so I'm really excited to hear what she has to say. So,
Yeah.
all right, Angela, we got a few more minutes here. So I always like ending it like this. This is kind of like hey, we brought up Fuse, right? You're on Fuse right now. You're standing in front of 2,500 people. You have the mic, and because I know you're a big public speaker and you love this, but she's shaking her head right now, everyone. But at the end of the day, you get to give advice out there. You have a stage. You get to give advice to the broker community, whether they're experienced, new and upcoming. What bit of advice would you like to give to the community?
Yeah. So my bit of advice would be to create your database as soon as you get started. It's never too early. I don't care if you have 20 people that you've talked to this year or if you have 2,000. Make sure that you make it a priority because it'll pay off tenfold. You can utilize it so many different ways.
Yep. So to add on to that, because I'm a big believer in exactly what you're saying. If you're new
Yeah.
and upcoming, get that database up as fast as you can. And to the experienced people, make sure you're working that database because there's a middle ground there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not going to do anything for you if you just track the names. You have to actually engage with the people on that list.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, all right, Angela. No, you were great today. Thank you for your time. I know you're extremely busy. Um, you've always done so much for AIM, and anytime we ask you, if you're interested, you're always there for us. So, first off, I just want to thank you for that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And then I want to thank you for being on the podcast here because, hey, it takes time. We do some pre-calls before, so it's always taking time out of your day where you could be helping consumers, but I know the greater good is helping the community. So I just want to thank you for that and all of your insights today.
Yeah, you're welcome. No, I really appreciate the opportunity. And even if this helps just one person, I'm happy the message got out.
Absolutely, absolutely. So once again, thanks, Angela. And brokers, if you want to get caught up on all of our past podcast episodes, please head over to aimgroup.com/broker to broker. You can also listen to all the broker to broker podcast episodes on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else you can download podcasts. Do me a favor, subscribe to it, rate it, and leave a review. It helps us get the podcast out there and spread the word that brokers are better. So, Angela, once again, thank you. Thank you for being part of the community. Thank you for being in our Facebook group pages. Thank you for coming to Fuse. Just thank you, thank you, thank you.
Of course, Mark. Thank you.
All
I'll
right,
see
have
you
a
soon.
great day.